Good morning, everyone. It's about 8 o'clock on a late summer morning. A little foggy this morning. I wanted to do just a casual walkthrough of the fruit orchard part of the yard that we're growing. And this is an east-facing direction. So south would be this way. So this area gets a good amount of sun, which most fruit trees like. And there's a lot of open sky, so I feel like this is a pretty good place for fruit trees. Let's just start over here. I have a fig collection going on. A lot of my figs are in containers. This is an Olympian fig, which is bearing a lot of fruit. It's been like the most vigorous plant. None of the fruits are ripe yet, but shows a lot of potential. I have a bunch of different varieties of figs. This is a Negron fig and an Ischia fig, some Celeste varieties, etc. And over here is kind of the persimmon section. So we have 3 hybrid semi-dwarf persimmons. This is a Chojiro persimmon that I just got and planted about a week ago. This one's called a meter. This is the Nikita's Gift, which was planted last fall and has not shown a lot of signs of growth yet, but I think it's growing underneath the ground. I have some comfrey over here. I did some cantaloupe vines next to a lot of these trees, so you'll see some vines on the ground. Here's some fennel. Oh, and we have a nice little visitor on this fennel. Actually, 2 of them. This particular caterpillar, I've noticed, really likes the fennel, and they hang out here. I'm not sure what this one is. If anyone knows, let me know. And so now we're walking south. This is a Chojiro Asian pear that I planted last week. Really beautiful tree. And this is the apple section. I have 2 apples. This one was planted in this last fall, actually. This is a Roxbury russet, which has grown a lot. It flowered this year, but didn't produce fruit this year. But this is a red wine sap apple that produced a lot of fruit and really nice flowers. I learned that apples are in the same family as roses, so the flowers smell really good. This was a great tree this year. And then here's like our peach section, and peaches have been doing surprisingly well. I have 4 different varieties here. I need to label them, but this one has been the most vigorous as far as growth, and it just looks very healthy. You could see its trunk is actually stretching, so it's growing girth wise as well as branching out more, and really excited for this peach tree. These are all dwarf peach trees, so they won't get super tall, which makes it easier for me to maintain. This one's another peach, and another one here. And then continuing walking south, we go into the Paw Paw Patch. And here I have 7 pawpaw trees planted last fall, acquired from various nurseries. There are 7 trees total, 6 different varieties. Tried to plant them in the more shadier area of the yard, shaded by this wild cherry tree, because young pawpaws apparently don't like too much sun, and pawpaws are very resilient. They're a native plant here, and this is an exciting area of the yard that I think in a few years is going to be an amazing source of tropical fruit in North Carolina. And as you can see, like the floor here is wood chips, and the most amount of labor I've put into this yard is putting out cardboard, picking cardboard up from recycling centers, laying it on the ground, and then putting wood chips on top. So you can see some plants are busting through the wood chip floor, but this has been really good for suppressing some of the unnecessary or unwanted grass. And I'm hoping that that cardboard breaks down, adds more carbon into the soil, and the wood chips will eventually break down and host fungi that helps improve the soil quality. So I basically am trying to cover this entire area with cardboard and wood chips. So coming out of the Paw Paw Patch, we have our cherries section. I have 4 different cherries. This is a cherry tree, some wild bergamot planted next to it. This is a really nice aromatic herb. Here's another cherry tree. This is the black tartarian. In this corner are just some hibiscus flowers that I really like hibiscus tea, so I tried to plant some of the plants, but doing pretty good. We have 2 more cherry trees. Here's one. This is probably I think the tallest tree in the yard right now. These things got feasted on by Japanese beetles back in June. So we'll see how they do. And then we have Royal Rainier cherry here, which is a hybrid between I think it's called a Royal Anne and a Rainier. And then moving north, we get into some plums. This is a Santa Rosa plum, which dropped a lot of its leaves and doesn't look too healthy. There's this gigantic bush that I got from a native plant seller. I forgot what it is, but it is thriving here, and I love it. And wow, it's actually starting to open up its flowers. It's purple and yellow flowers, really beautiful. But I wonder if having this plant so close to this plum tree has affected its growth. So I'm not sure what's going on here, but I think the first season is just kind of a trial, you know, and hopefully it's developing its root system, and we'll see how it does next spring. This is a Japanese plum. Plums were also loved by the Japanese beetles. They ate a lot of leaves, so I tried to manage that manually, but again, this is a brand new orchard, so mostly I just want to get the root systems established, and these things should be growing a lot more in their 2nd and 3rd year. Here's a bunch of cardboard. You can see this is a work in progress, but I just laid this out yesterday. Gonna put some mulch on top of this, but that's how it looks underneath the mulch, is just layers of cardboard. Here's another plum tree. This is another Japanese plum. And you can see some melons here that are probably not going to make it, but we did have really good success with cantaloupe this year, planting them next to the fruit trees like that. Yeah, so probably do that again next year. This is a Methly Plum, which has an interesting wide kind of low shape. I didn't have a lot of faith in this tree. It didn't look too healthy when I first got it, but there's been a lot of new growth on it, and I think I'm gonna keep it in there and see how it does. And then here's Fennel, and we have another 2 visitors again. Loving this Fennel. And this is now we're in like the European pears. So here's a more traditional pear, I guess. Yeah, this is the Ayers pear. This one looks very promising, very strong. I need to cut back some of the grass, and you can see some cantaloupe down there as well. Here's another pear. This is the kefir pear. Should probably put some structure there to keep this one straight. It's been leaning over for a while. This is a moon glow pear, which has a beautiful shape. Looks very strong. This one didn't get touched as much as the other pears when it comes to pests for some reason. This is a pineapple pear. This one actually produced some flowers really late into the summer, which was surprising. I think this is more of a later variety. Very young, but has a lot of new growth on it. These branches are not going to be strong enough to support fruit, so it might be a couple more years until this one starts producing fruit, but it has a nice shape, and apparently the pears have a pineapple flavor on them. One thing here is you can see these like kind of trenches. These are swales that are about 12 inches deep, filled with wood chips, and the idea is to collect some water as it drains down, because we're slightly on a downslope here, and then the water collects in there and waters slowly underneath the ground. So just one thing I learned from a book called Gaia's Garden as a way of kind of harvesting natural rainwater. Here's another Asian pear. This one had some fruits early on, but didn't make it. This one did have some pest issues. And then over here I have a big old patch of comfrey, and I use this to chop and drop underneath the fruit trees. This plant is a nitrogen fixer. It has roots that pull up nitrogen and other helpful minerals, and then those get built into its leaves. It's very vigorous, very hardy, and then you can drop those leaves around the trees and that will decay, and those nutrients will get put down into the soil to help the trees. I bought a bunch of comfrey and planted it in various places, and so it's kind of popping up here and there, but I tried to focus it all in one area just to have it easier to manage. And then finally, this is another Asian pear. This is the Korean giant, which produced a couple fruits this year. I think this is going to be a good one. And here's kind of just a look at the orchard side of the yard. The spacing is a little off. You know, I may have gotten a little too excited at the beginning and didn't design things perfectly, but it's okay. I can work with it. One thing I would have done differently is stagger the trees. As you can see, like if we look at it from this angle, these two trees are basically aligned. So eventually when their branches move out, they're going to start touching each other. Whereas if I took this front tree and moved it over here and staggered the trees that way in kind of a zigzag form, I think that would have been better as far as spacing and giving the tree space to branch out. But yeah, so we still have a lot of sheet mulching to do. I'm gonna try to cover this entire area with that cardboard wood chip mixture, and hopefully, I mean, we've already had good success with cantaloupe, with peaches, apples are pretty good, had some Asian pears. So I think this first growing season has been relatively good. I think we have a nice sunny area, and looking forward to seeing how this progresses over the next few years. If you have any questions or comments, ideas, would love to hear from you. So go ahead and leave a comment in this video. And there are other parts of the yard, such as our vegetable garden here, and then on the other side of the yard there's more fruit, more figs and stuff like that. But I'll keep this video focused on the orchard, and we'll see how it goes. Thanks for watching.